Greetings everyone. Gleekon back again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. On our last episode, we played some more World of Warcraft Classic. This time with our Tauren Shaman as he continued to explore Mulgul, and we kind of did the center of the map as that one kind of starts in the south and works its way up towards around Thunder Bluff. We've also been reading the Dungeons and Dragons World of Warcraft setting called, well, that's just what the setting's called. It's called World of Warcraft, the role-playing game, but we're reading the source book called Lands of Mystery, which is Bran Bronzebeard's take on everything not Eastern Kingdoms all throughout Azeroth. So stay a while and listen as we continue Chapter 5, which is getting us through Northrend. We're going to read about the Storm Peaks, whose capital is considered Ulduar, which has an unknown population, but they say very few things live here. Mostly storm giants with some golems, Magnetar, and Wendigo. From the name, you'd think the Storm Peaks were mountains. Well, that's not entirely accurate. Oh, they have the highest elevation of any region in Northrend, certainly. On the edge of the peaks, you can look out over Ice-Crowned Glacier to the west, Crystal Song Forest to the south, Zuldrak to the east, and the ocean to the north. But they aren't mountains. They're cliffs. The peaks are the spots where wind does not cut away the ice and rock, as opposed to the narrow paths it has carved. Through large parts of this region, you can literally leap from peak to peak, provided the wind does not throw you over the edge. Ulduar, like much of Northrend, is sparsely inhabited. The giants stay hidden, their golems don't bother you unless you approach the giants' homes, and the Magnetar and Wendigo are infrequent and large enough to spot from a distance. It's a good place to be alone with your thoughts if you don't mind the biting wind, the searing cold, and the repetitive stretches of ice and rock. People and culture. The storm giants make their home here in the Storm Peaks. I know that's true because I saw a few giants there, though only from a distance. They're impressive, more than 30 feet tall and powerfully built. One of the giants I spotted was summoning a small storm. Fortunately, they keep to themselves, hidden in their caves and tunnels below the surface, and avoid visitors. Still, it would have been fascinating to meet them and talk with them. Myths say the Titans created them as well, so perhaps we have a common origin. They might know more about our past than we do, but they're not likely to tell me about it. The giants like their privacy, and their crystalline golems help maintain that. I saw the same golems down in Crystal Song Forest gathering crystals to bring back here. There they were servants and couriers. Here they function as door wardens and bodyguards, making sure no intruder gains entrance to the giants' lairs. Magnetar and Wendigo roam the peaks. I had a run-in with a Wendigo, but one good shot to the shoulder persuaded it I was an easy prey. I didn't see a Magnetar up close here, and that was fine with me. They look like nasty customers. Fortunately, they're solitary and easy to spot. For more information on Magnetar, see Chapter 6, Civilizations, which we are coming up on. Geography. The two biggest dangers in the Storm Peaks aren't necessarily its inhabitants. The wind is fierce and constant and can easily tug a grown dwarf off a cliff. One look at those paths that had cut through the cliffs and you realize how deadly wind can be. The second danger is sunlight. That sounds strange, I know, but the peaks are covered in ice and the light reflects from every angle. Ice-Crowned Glacier has the same effect, but the ice there is composed of flat sheets so you can't look down easily. Up here, the ice is everywhere. Wearing dark glasses is the only way to survive, otherwise you're blinded every time you move your head. Before long, you step wrong and tumble off a cliff or down a ravine. The weather doesn't help. It's either clear and sunny with that nasty glare, or dark as night and pouring with sheets of freezing rain, hail, or snow, battering you and making every surface as slick as oil. The peaks are handsome in an austere way. Little grows here, a random bush sprouting in a nook along the cliff face, a few tough blades of grass and a crack. Everything else is stone and ice. I haven't seen any animals, and I'm not sure what the Wendigo and Magnetar eat to survive. Probably each other and any travelers they can find. Sites and settlements. No one lives here except the storm giants with their golems and beasts like the Wendigo and Magnetar. The latter have caves they've found or dug into the ice and rock. The giants have their city Ulduar and the Temple of Storms. What about the Temple of Storms? When I saw this building, I knew at once it was Titan-made. It's similar to the Wormrest Temple down in the Dragonblight, This temple sits on one of the tallest peaks right along the western border, so just beyond it, the cliffs drop to Ice-Crown Glacier. A wide path, one of the only straight channels in this region, leads to massive stone steps that stop at the temple's front door. Crystal golems stand guard at the perimeter, so again, I couldn't gain access, but I did see shapes moving around within. Massive shapes, too big to be anything but storm giants. The Titans must have built this, but I don't know if it was for themselves or for the giants. Either way, the Titans have long since vanished, and the giants claim this temple as their own. One night I saw lightning flickering from the dome, not down to it, but up from it. So perhaps they're doing something more than worship in there. Ulduar, this has that unknown population. This is the Storm Giant stronghold, but they didn't build it. I'd stake my reputation on Ulduar being a Titan city. It matches the design of the two temples here in Northrend and other ruins we found elsewhere, and its name starts with Uld. It's an amazing place, but you'd never know it from outside because it's completely hidden. The exterior looks like the other peaks, a jumble of rock and ice cut at angles only nature would have produced. The entrance is well hidden and heavily guarded by those golems, but a clever dwarf can sneak inside. Inside, Ulduar is a profusion of tunnels and stairs and balconies. I suspect the entire place was carved out of a massive cave. Many of the levels are natural ledges. It has that feel as if nature were improved upon rather than replaced or recreated. The surfaces are a strange mix of smooth and unaltered stone and ice, as when a master sculptor works in stone and lets the material's natural texture add depth and beauty. I can see where we get our skill in stonework, but judging by Ulduar, I'd say we're still a long way from matching our creators. The giants themselves are so few in number, you can wander the halls without ever meeting one, which is probably for the best since no one is supposed to gain entrance. From what I saw and overheard, the giants are a dying race desperately avoiding their fate. They seem to think another race will vanquish them someday, and so they hide here rather than girding for battle. They are too frightened, 30-foot giants, frightened to battle the scourge, though I believe they hate it. I didn't get to explore as much as I would like, but I suspect Ulduar is a treasure trove of information on the Titans and their activities. We'll have to send an expedition back to inspect it properly. Ulduar is a mysterious subterranean realm of ice and stone. History. The Storm Peaks have a mysterious history, but I believe I've pieced together some truths. Long ago the Titans lived here. They created Ulduar as their city, and from here they worked their experiments. The storm giants began here, and perhaps the dwarves and trogs as well. Then the Titans disappeared, leaving the races to survive on their own. The dwarves moved south into warmer climates, but the storm giants remained and claimed Ulduar. They developed crystalline golems to aid them in their research and to defend them. Over time, the giants have dwindled in number and grown ever more reclusive. Now, only a handful remains. Adventures. The Storm Peaks have treacherous paths, powerful winds, jagged cliffs, and hungry monsters. They are also home to the Storm Giants, one of the oldest races in the world, and the keepers of the Titan's legacy. Fell Path. The heroes are roaming through the Storm Peaks when a storm hits. The wind and hail shake loose an unstable cliff face, which crashes down and blocks off the hero's path. Now they have no way out of the ravine except to scale the walls or retreat. After the storm, Magnetar and Wendigo search for victims. Titan Horde. During one of the frequent storms, lightning shatters a small peak, revealing a cave hidden within. The cave walls have clearly been fashioned by an artisan and resemble a strangely organic city or house. A traveler notices this event and brings word back to Valgard, creating a stir. Could the cave have been a Titan home? If so, what secrets remain there undisturbed? The heroes must mount an expedition and explore the cave before the storm giants find it and claim it. All right, so there's some interesting things as usual in this book. You can see the germs of so many different ideas. The fact that the giants live here, that there's Magnetar, snow races, that Ulduar is the seat, and some of the ideas of the history of the original races and how they came. That's all there. Less emphasis on the actual glinting, glittering ice has been made. The influence of the Titans spreading all throughout the zone, and this really having, like, their influence being shown is gone. That's another thing that has yet to pop up. The Dark Iron Dwarves and their role. Also, the Valkyr or what, not Valkyr. Well, yeah, those two, and the Valor Yar or whatever they're called. All of those tall human predecessors, um, they all have their story and their role in this land, which is a big part of this zone that still needs to be fleshed out. The fact that the goblins also have a big base in the K12 or K9, whatever the little base camp is, um, that this is a neutral zone and that's how you get your foothold in there, that too needs to be played out. Not to mention the whole Loken, I mean, and Thorin, the whole Loki Thor Sif kind of very not. I can't even know. I don't even know if you would say it's thinly veiled, but that whole knockoff story is in there too. All right, cool. Another episode in the pipe 5x5. Thank you so much for watching and for listening, and I will see you all next time on Lore of Warcraft.